and welcome to Diabetes Connections in the News. I'm Stacey Sims, and these are the top diabetes stories and headlines of the past 7 days. We go live on social media first, and then all sources linked up at diabetes-connections.com when this airs as a podcast. The news is brought to you by the world's worst diabetes mom, real-life stories of parenting a child with type 1 diabetes, winner of the best new nonfiction at the American Book Fest, and named a Book Authority Best Parenting Book. Available in paperback, ebook, or audiobook at Amazon. Our top story this week, Dexcom gets the CE mark for its new G7 system, which means it is approved in Europe. The approval is for people ages 2 and up, including pregnant women. I am putting the full screen photo up here, and I will post this on the website and in the Facebook group if you are listening. It's really interesting to finally get a good look at the much smaller applicator. As expected, it looks a lot like the Libre. Also interesting, all the PR for this has said, developed in partnership with Verily. Do you remember them? That was part of Google, probably best known for saying they were going to develop a contact lens that would monitor glucose. I've reached out to Verily. I'd love to know more about this partnership here. Anyway, we have done a ton on G7 in the last few months, and I will link up some of our recent conversation with the folks at Dexcom. They submitted to the US FDA at the end of 2021. No firm timeline on US approval. Some good news about living longer with chronic conditions, including diabetes. This was a 20-year British study that ended in 2011. So one caveat here, it doesn't include COVID. Well, men gained 4.6 years of life expectancy. Women gained 2.1. When it comes to disability-free life expectancy, men gained about a year less. Women stayed the same. And this included people with chronic conditions, including diabetes. These researchers do point out while they would expect to see the same increase in the U.S., the lack of health and social safety net programs could make a negative difference here. But they point to CGM technology and better medication as making a big difference for those with diabetes. Children who develop type 1 show epigenetic changes in the cells of their immune system long before the antibodies of the disease are detected in their blood. An epigenetic change affects how our genes work. Outside factors such as environmental or viral infections are usually the cause. These researchers say these are previously unknown changes that signal the increased risk of developing type 1 and could give an even earlier indication that the antibody marker tests available now. Well, could text messaging with your doctor help people with type 2? A new team in Chicago is looking at text-based intervention in underserved communities. The intervention will deliver personalized information directly to patients through text messages, including reminders about self-monitoring and prescription refills, interactive office hours, and general information about diabetes, motivational support, and answers to frequently asked questions. These doctors say the idea is to create more opportunities for patients to meaningfully engage and reduce barriers by employing technology already in people's hands. Last week, we told you about the effort by Civica RX to make affordable insulin. Civica is a nonprofit generic pharmaceutical company. JDRF directed funds to this effort, and CEO Aaron Kowalski wrote an op-ed that I will link up. In it, he talks about the success Civica has had lowering the costs of other medications. We'll have Kowalski on the show soon, and I have reached out to Civica as well. This would lower the price to $35 a vial, no matter your insurance. Congress is still hung up on a $35 copay cap for those with insurance. Over in the UK, they continue to move forward, covering all 400,000 Britons with type 1 for the Libre CGM. Former guest of the podcast, Dr. Partha Kar, says everybody with type 1 will be able to get a CGM if they want one by the end of March. It will no longer be restricted by who doctors think need it the most. By the way, Britain means someone from England, Scotland, or Wales, right? It's the first time I'm using that word. So UK friends, let me know if I've got it right. Still a big need for diabetes help to Ukraine. A lot of the efforts are paying off. Insulin for Life showing that the supplies are on their way or have arrived. Spare a Rose reports that individual donations so far have totaled more than $115,000, and I will keep linking up places to donate. And reaction to Pixar's Turning Red. I loved this. I put out a call for photos of people seeing themselves in the movie's tiny little moments of diabetes representation. Thanks to everybody who sent those in. You can see them on the Diabetes Connections Facebook page, in my Twitter feed, and on the Stacey Sims account on Instagram. It is all just one account over there. Well, Turning Red had diabetes in the background. This week on our long format episode, we're talking about a movie that wants to put type 1 front and center. And it's got the Star Trek community as excited as the diabetes community. You'll meet the Star Trek Discovery actor with type 1 who is leading this effort. And next week, we're going to do a deep dive on stem cell research with the folks at ViaCyte. They are kind of working on two fronts now with encapsulation and with gene editing with the people at CRISPR. So that's next week. And you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. And that is In the News for this week. If you like it, please share it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.